Before the private aircraft and the mega-yacht, a castle represented the lifestyle of the aristocracy. The squat, circular fortress castles with their moats and drawbridges came before the creation of the fairy tale Rhine castles and their opulent French counterparts along the Loire. Castles play important roles as both the residences of kings and their courts, and as the locations of important sieges and wars. Most significantly, castles are evidence of how unstable our ancestors' world was. Palaces started to appear as security increased. In this video, we will be talking about some of the amazing castles and palaces that have been built. But before that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more amazing content. Let's begin. Number 9. Peles, Romania Castle. King Carol I ordered the construction of a neo-Renaissance-style castle in the sleepy village of Sinai in the 1860s after becoming mesmerized by the alluring Busegi Mountains. The 160 rooms at the royal summer residence each have a unique motif. For instance, the theater on the property exudes a vibe of a storybook, with magnificent frescoes by Austrian artists Franz von Mach and Gustav Klimt clinging to the walls and roof. When Romania became a communist country, Peles Castle was eventually abandoned after years of use as a royal palace. After the revolution in 1989, the castle reopened as a public museum. Number 8. Chapultepec, Mexico Castle. Only one castle in North America, Chapultepec Castle in Mexico City, has ever really housed a sovereign. In order to house the viceroy of the Spanish province of New Spain, Viceroy Bernardo de Galvez ordered the construction of the castle in 1785. The palatial building was converted into a military academy following the Mexican War of Independence, and it later served as the location of the Battle of Chapultepec in the Mexican-American War in 1847. It would eventually serve as Emperor Maximilian I and his wife, Empress Carlota's formal royal palace once more. Maximilian contributed to the creation of the castle's current layout and neoclassical design, but his rule was terminated in 1867 when President Benito Juárez retook office. The National Museum of History, which instructs citizens about the cultures and histories of the nation, is housed in the castle today. Number 7. Chateau de Versailles, Paris Palace. The Sun King Louis XV, who created the Chateau de Versailles and ultimately did for the French monarchy, is best known for the palace's beautiful gardens and fountains, hall of mirrors, and other architectural highlights. It served as the French king's primary residence from 1682, when it was finished in a magnificent Baroque design, to the French Revolution in 1789. In no small part, the monarchy's alienation from the French people was caused by the king's decision to have his court pay homage to him so far outside of Paris, away from the hoi polloi. This decision also contributed to the location's extravagant nature. It is now one of Paris's most popular tourist spots, and it is accessible by vehicle in the south. Though Paris is a destination all year round, high summer is the worst time to come since you have to stand in line for hours with coach tours and then shuffle through the mob. Off-season and very early in the day are the ideal times to visit. As soon as the crowds start to gather, flee to the exquisite gardens, which are worth visiting on their own. Number 6. Alhambra, Granada Palace. The Alhambra Palace's dominant first impression is the tranquil sound of water. Although it was constructed in a very arid area, it is nonetheless a genuine park of water features, with fountains that flow into ponds, smaller man-made streams, and channels that lead to larger pools. The second thing you'll probably note is how the palace's other characteristics, such as its fine woodwork, meticulous mosaics and ceramics, intricate calligraphy, and motifs shown in plaster and tile are similar to works of art, just like the water features. One chamber in particular is noteworthy because of the roof, which is built of 8,000 jigsaw piece inlaid cedar wood panels. The king's private quarters are further back and feature themed rooms, several of which have indoor pools and televisions. Number 5. Catbay Fort in Alexandria, Egypt. Castle. Sultan al-Ashraf Catbay first started building the Stern Castle on the Mediterranean Sea in 1477, after learning that Ottoman forces were moving toward Alexandria. Plans for the castle were deftly placed atop the remains of the demolished pharaoh's lighthouse so that builders could scavenge parts to make the red granite columns for the mosque and entrance. Although the Ottoman Empire eventually conquered Egypt, the citadel continued to serve as a military stronghold until it was bombarded by the British in 1882. Before the Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities intervened in the 20th century to restore the enormous and magnificent monument to its former splendor, it was abandoned at the port. The citadel has served as a nautical museum chronicling the achievements and setbacks of Egyptian naval forces since the 1952 revolution. Number 4. Neuschwanstein Castle in Schwangau, Germany. King Ludwig II of Bavaria ordered the construction of the Neuschwanstein Castle in 1868 as a retreat from the spotlight and turbulent political times. Ludwig was essentially deposed following Prussia's conquest of Austria and Bavaria during the Austro-Prussian War, yet he yearned for his own kingdom to reign. The revered guest I would like to accommodate there, you know, will be there. There will be several cozy, habitable guest rooms with a splendid view of the noble Shaoling, the mountains of Tyrol, and far across the plain, Ludwig wrote in a letter to his longtime friend and fellow German composer, Richard Wagner. Neuschwanstein, known as the Castle of the Fairy Tale King, opened to the public in 1886 and is still among the most well-known buildings in all of Europe, despite Ludwig never getting to see it in its completed state. Number 3. Frederiksborg Castle in Hillerød, Denmark. The impressive Frederiksborg Castle, which is situated on 3 little islands in Castle Lake, was constructed as a representation of the authority of King Christian IV over Denmark and Norway. Prior to a significant fire in 1859, the Renaissance Castle served as the royal residence for 100 years. A national lottery and collection were held to obtain money for the palace's reconstruction, as only the church and the audience hall had survived the fire. In 1878, Frederiksborg reopened as the Museum of National History after the royal family decided it would no longer reside there. The renowned museum's magnificent collection of historical paintings and portraits, as well as the interior of the castle, serve to highlight Denmark's history today. Number 2. Himeji Castle in Himeji, Japan. Himeji Castle was known as White Heron Castle because of its stunning early 17th century Japanese castle construction and exquisite white exterior, which resembles a bird taking flight. The complex above the inland sea was initially constructed in 1346 as a stronghold against local shoguns and consists of 83 buildings with sophisticated defense and protection systems. Himeji Castle, however, was transformed into a more livable castle and never used in combat. The location was declared a national treasure by the Japanese government in 1931. Both Japanese and English language guided tours of Himeji's Cherry Blossom Garden are available. Number 1. Schwerin Castle in Schwerin, Germany. The first indications of a stronghold may be found on the enchanting island where Schwerin Castle is located, dating back to 942. The castle didn't take on its final form until George Adolf Daimler was hired to rebuild the dilapidated building in 1847 by Grand Duke Friedrich Franz II. The Grand Duke gave Daimler the task of creating a castle that acknowledged the magnificent architecture and cultural legacy of the past while yet feeling contemporary. The historicist palace has 653 rooms, including a royal room with Carrara marble furnishings and gilded iron doors and an ancestral picture gallery, and is today one of Germany's most renowned castles. Before entering the castle's mystical chambers, guests are welcome to enjoy its grounds and cafe. Little Peter, the naughty spirit of Schwerin, is said to still live in the castle, and you never know, you might run across him. That's it, guys. These castles were frequently constructed in strategic and magnificent settings, such as the mouths of valleys, at the entrance to mountain routes, or on sparkling lake shores, in addition to the amazing architecture on display. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Leave a like, share with your friends and families, and jot down your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.